everyone. This is Deborah from Save the Redwoods League.
And Morgan, a naturalist with the East Bay Regional Park District.
And why don't you come along with us as we go on an adventure through the redwood forest?
Let's explore.
Redwood forests have many interesting and unique features. As we travel through the forest, think about what patterns you notice. What questions you have about what you see. Does it remind you of anything you've seen before? Come with us as we learn about the coast redwood superpowers.
The bark of a tree protects it, similar to what your skin does for you. The red-brown color of the soft, spongy bark gives the coast redwood its name. Bark of a coast redwood can be very thick, up to 1 foot. Not all trees have such thick bark to protect themselves. Coast redwoods are not afraid of fire because their thick bark protects them. What are some other ways that plants and animals protect themselves?
Another unique superpower is how coast redwoods are able to reproduce or make new baby redwood trees. A redwood cone holds the seeds of a tree. A conifer, a cone-bearing tree, has both male and female cones. This one is a female cone. A redwood cone changes color from green to brown, and the cone opens up so 50 to 60 small seeds can fall out. The seeds of a redwood tree are tightly held inside the redwood cone until they are mature and ready to be released. Can you think of seeds from plants that you eat?
The leaves of a redwood tree are called needles. Redwoods have 2 types of needles. Needles at the top of the tree grow in tight spikes. Needles at the bottom of the tree are wide and long to catch more light. Needles can suck up water from fog like a sponge. This gives water to the tree during the summer when there is no rain.
There's another superpower that redwoods have, and it has to do with how they live forever. Coast redwoods can reproduce or make new trees in 2 different ways. They can grow from seeds from their cones that fall to the forest floor, like we saw before, but a new redwood also can sprout from a burl at the base of the trunk of an established tree. This young tree gets its food from its parent. When enough sunlight is available, it will grow tall right alongside its parent to replace it if the parent tree dies. That's why when you walk through a redwood forest, you find a circle of trees around where larger trees once stood, like a family.
Redwood bark and branches can be a home for some interesting creatures and other living things. The lichen you see here is actually 2 different organisms, a fungus and an algae. They both help each other and can be found in almost every habitat on the planet. They can grow in the sand, on rocks, and even in the Arctic tundra. Lichen are used to make nests by many birds, flying squirrels, voles, and chipmunks. You can remember what makes up lichen by this saying: Alice algae and Freddie fungus took a liking to each other. What colors do you notice are part of the lichen? Does it remind you of anything?
There are other trees that live with redwoods in the forest that have their own interesting features. California Bay Laurel leaves have a smooth edge and are quite smelly when crushed. Try it. You can put a California Bay Laurel leaf in pasta and pizza sauce to add flavor, but you only want to use a small amount because it has a strong flavor. California Bay Laurel was used in many ways by Native Americans. The leaf was used for headaches, toothaches, and earaches. A tea was made from the leaves to treat stomach aches, colds, and sore throats. Can you think of another plant that has a really strong odor? Maybe something you eat or use as tea.
Another tree that grows in the redwoods are the coast live oak, which can grow up to 100 feet tall. The coast live oak has a short trunk and many large, crooked, spreading branches. Often the branches spread wider than the tree is tall. The coast live oak is often found near streams and rivers, and they produce acorns as their fruit. The acorns of the coast live oak are eaten by birds, small mammals, and deer, and Native Americans use acorns to make bread. When you touch the edges of a coast live oak leaf, you just might prick your skin. The tree is evergreen, which means there are always leaves on the coast live oak. How are the leaves of this oak tree different than the bay tree we just saw? Are they similar in any way?
Unfortunately, humans can also leave evidence that they have been in a forest. Garbage found in the park can end up in Redwood Creek, which drains to the San Francisco Bay and the Pacific Ocean. This garbage hurts the plants and animals that live in these places. Dog poop is garbage too. The dog poop found on the side of the trail has bacteria in it that's bad for the water. Be sure to pick up what your pets leave behind to keep the forest and water healthy. What is one thing you can do to help a redwood forest?
As a coast redwood grows tall, they lose their lower branches, which drop to the ground. A tree's branches stretch out as far and wide as possible to help the leaves reach light to make food for the tree. Branches and sticks that fall from trees into the creek provide important habitat for insects and other animals in the water.
Thanks so much for joining us on this scavenger hunt to discover what can be found in a redwood forest.